Jenkins. Okay, I know everybody's like me, they're hungry. I ain't go, hey Manny.
You want me to do?
No, just shut the fuck up. We'll almost start when you get done. Hey, this is we had that line thing this morning, which was pretty good. I never had done it quite like this before, but I think it was pretty good. And when Kenny asked me to do the second thing, he wanted something, that would be applicable for every position, not just the line of scrimmage, not just the defensive line. Most of the stuff I do is either for defensive lineman or linebacker, front seven type stuff. But this one I think this is interesting. I've done this clinic, a couple of clinics that I've spoken at this year, and I think it's pretty good. I'll try not to burn you up thinking too long. I know y'all are hungry and ready to go just like I am. Okay, I put coaches in two groups. And it doesn't mean that they're not good coaches, but I put them in two groups. There's people who love to coach, and there's people who love being a coach. And I'm telling you now, guys, they are two distinct groups of people. Now, people who love to be a coach, like the perks, they like to be a coach, they like being on that sideline on Saturday night, Friday night, where they like all the stuff that comes with it. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad coach. It just means that they like being a coach. I'm a guy that likes coaching. Okay? I love practice. I coached 43 years, and my last coaching, I coached last week at the Rams, but my last game coaching was the 24th game we played that season. And honest to God, I enjoyed coaching that week as much as I ever coached ever in my life. I like practice. I like coaching in practice. I think practice, and this is what this is all about. This little tape here is about practice and practicing to win. Okay? Can y'all see that screen okay?
Yes, sir.
That light. Okay, and guess what I said? This is the most important time. The most important and valuable time is coaching and teaching on the practice field. Okay, these are 10 things that I came up with, or what I call practice principles. Coaching with a purpose, coaches and players on the same page. Okay. Ed left, didn't he? When Ed and I worked for Armsparker, I tell you, it was really a revelation to me, guys. When I played, I went to practice to survive the damn thing. I really went to practice to survive. Shit, everybody was happy as hell when practice was over. We lived through it. When Coach Armsparker came to LSU, I had a sense at that time, and as you all remember, we were very successful under Coach Armsparker and had a tough schedule. The time in history there where we were playing a lot of tough football games, or big schools and whatever. But here's what he did. And I was saying Ed, because Ed worked for him too. The offense, the defense, and the special teams, when we left to go to practice, they all understood and had a concept of why we were going over there. We weren't going over there to just practice football. They understood what you and I understand, why we were going over there, what we hoped to get accomplished while we were over there. Look, guys, ain't nothing wrong with sharing that with them. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Hell, we coach each other. We come to clinics and shit, go home coaching them kids that you got to win with. That's the people you really need to share your thoughts with. Look, we're going over to get this done today. Here's what it does. It gives them some ownership. They understand it. We ain't going over there just to work the shit out of me. We're going over there to get some things accomplished. Okay, so that's number one. Practice with a purpose. Here's one of my pet peeves right here. Practice with toughness, speed, and intensity. Y'all understand the last two. If you practice fast, you'll play fast. At the Eagles, we never ran a sprint. Not one sprint the whole damn time I was there. Not one sprint. We practiced like we was in the damn Super Bowl every day. The guys practice fast. Y'all, let me ask you this. Does anybody in here disagree with me when I say this? The best way to condition to play football is playing football. And playing football fast. That's the best conditioner you can possibly get. So, Coach Reed has them, we practice fast and intense. We don't need to run. We don't need to run. All right, the other one is toughness. I've coached with guys, the EMF players. I've coached with guys. Shit, there's one offensive line coach. Some of you guys that probably know, I pulled two big bastards off of him. Because they're fixing to knock his damn head off, okay? One of them had already measured him. Look, if you got to hit them, EMF them, you got the wrong guy playing for you. You really do. Don't ever make it personal like that. Toughness, that ain't toughness. Hell, toughness is being willing to do what's uncomfortable and unpopular and hard to do. That's what toughness is, being willing to do that. I never have abused players, and I don't think you have to do that. If you do, you got the wrong guy. So toughness and energy, enthusiasm. I'm going to tell this quick story. There was a guy at y'all remember Erskine Russell? He was a great coach at Georgia. He coached at Georgia Southern, won national team. He was a great coach at Georgia. He was a tradition at Georgia. I was a young coach. I was a high school coach. I went over there to see Coach Russell, and I mean, it was amazing. He was such a ball of damn energy and all that stuff, you know. So I was going to practice with him, and we went by his locker. He had to get something out of his locker before on the way out to practice. He opened his locker, and there was a sign in the back of his locker. It said, "Hustle, fat ass, if you will, they will." I never forgot that sign. I never forgot that. Hustle, fat ass, if you will, they will. And so, you know, enthusiasm and energy about what you're doing makes other people interested. It keeps them interested. So keep that. Don't hide that or try to be too cool. Shit, it's okay to be that way. Practice what's important to be successful. Y'all see me putting this thing down because I'm fixing to talk here a minute. Practice what's important to be successful. Simulation is the key. In 36 years of college football, I got to watch a bunch of practice. I got to go around recruiting. I saw a lot of people practice over the 36 years. I have been so many times, guys, and seen guys working very, very hard and had their kids working very, very hard. And it wasn't relative to what they were doing. The first time I retired, this is number 3, but the first time I retired, I went to a high school down in Florida, and I got to know the defensive line coach, and I knew the offensive line coach. He had played for us where I coached. And I saw this defensive line coach. He was a buffed up young guy, nice looking guy, and his kids were working their ass off too. I mean, they were all, he was working and they were working. I brought him to football camp in Thibodeau one time, man. He was from Florida. I don't know where you remember, kind of buff young guy. Anyways, they were doing, does anybody remember, y'all old enough to remember the duck walk? God damn, they duck walk. I watched this whole individual period. They duck walked, they did figure 8 duck walks, they duck walked underneath the goddamn chute. And I'm sitting there thinking, what can their scheme be? How does this shit relate to what their scheme is? I couldn't wait for team period to see how they use that shit. Well, as you know, they didn't use it. I mean, you know, but here's the deal. He was working like hell now, and they were working like hell. They were working together to get this duck walking done. And then as we got to be friends, I brought him over there to the line camp and everything, and he told me one day, he said, boy, that was some foolish shit that I was doing. I said, well, I wasn't going to tell you that, but duck walking went out of style a long time ago, okay? Now, stimulation is a key. If I give you a good picture, and you give me a good picture, we grow. Not just a scout team, Chris. I'm talking about those other offensive linemen. I coach those guys hard, and I tell them, look, give me a good picture. I'll make damn sure he gives you a good picture. So simulation, I think the better the simulation, the more progress that you make. So simulation being a big key for us. Number 5, consistency regardless of the opponent. When Orangeburg was over there, we won 16 in a row on the road. I didn't even know it until 3 or 4 years later. I read it in the paper. The media guy. You could come on the practice field at LSU when Orangeburg was over there, and Saban's just about his there. You wouldn't know who we played. Then I worked for one guy, guys. When we played Alabama, he'd be up here. So we'd play Hardysville. The next week we might play Mississippi State. He didn't get excited about that. We may be way down here. Consistency. Consistency, you practice consistency. I tell you what happened to me one time. I was at a SEC school and we were playing a small school, and the head coach had a big thing he did on Friday night. None of us got to come. He did it with the squad. Well, I heard Saturday morning he didn't do it. He didn't do it. We had to fight our ass off to tie the ball game at the end of the game before overtime. But we had to fight our ass off to tie the game right at the end of the ball game. What message did he send them? This is a shitty team, huh? Yeah, I'm the schedule. He changed the whole schedule. I'm not going to do anything Friday. I think consistency, regardless of the opponent, helps us all. And then stay with fundamentals. Practice with consistency. Stay with fundamentals. I read it in the paper. I've been reading the paper for years. I read where a head coach in high school or a head coach in college or a head coach in the NFL, he says, we're going back to fundamentals. I don't have to read the next few lines because I know what the next few lines said. I've had my ass whipped. Hey, cut to the chase. You stay with fundamentals. It's like I said in here in the line meeting this morning. If you don't use it, you lose it. And you want to stay with those fundamentals because that gets you through the tough times. Okay? Number 6. This is important for y'all, I think. Weather, school schedule, so forth and so on. Have an advanced plan. Don't practice and say, Wednesday, say, well, shit, we're such and such is going on, or we got storms coming, or whatever. Look at the weekly weather. Look at like, I'll tell you what happened to me. I'm almost ashamed to tell you this at LSU one time. We had a departmental exam. On Tuesday, we got ready to go to goal line. And we didn't figure out the departmental exam. We could get them out of individual exams, but the departmental exams, we couldn't get them out of. We go into goal line, we had 7 starters missing off the goal line. That's bad coaching. That's bad coaching. I mean, we should have worked on that damn goal line because Tuesday was our goal line day. We should have worked on it earlier in the day, earlier in the practice period, when all them guys were gone. We should have adjusted that schedule where we didn't miss those guys. So I think if you apply that one, it saves you some time. Here's another one. Unusual schemes, whether it be blocking schemes, protections, plays. Don't wait till the end of the week to work on them because they're not going to ever be comfortable with them during the game. If you work on them early and you work on them often, then by the end of the week, when they get in the game, they feel comfortable with it. So don't wait till the end of the week to do that. Work on it early and often. Practice
But
the obvious.
Go back to the last slide, please.
What the hell, so you,
Just trying to write it down.
okay, all right, William, just for you, baby. Did you get it that time?
At least one time you did.
I'm coming back, just take on. Well, shit.
That's what we go.
R, I know, R is reverse, ain't it? Yeah, here it is. Get ready, William. Come on back. Unusual schemes. Early and often. And I tell you, I've made that mistake before. I'd say, I'm going to wait, introduce that later in the week, I'm going to work on our base stuff. They're never comfortable. So that's the reason I say, and I've learned that if you do it early and you do it often, and script it in there, and script it in your team stuff, script it in your 9-on-7, if they get accustomed to it. Subs, overtime, 2-point situations. Hey, look, don't let that get your ass beat. Yeah, sit down and say, I need to cover this. I need to cover this. Work you up something, and and then on Thursday, when you play your mock game, spend some time on it. Create that situation. I tell you one that's always held on us, too. Goal line to nickel. You know, you good on goal line, and then all of a sudden they run a bunch of little bitty guys out there, and now you got to go to your nickel concept. You got a bunch of big ass guys to get off, and a bunch of little bitty guys to get on. We're always working things like that, and running your kicking team on the field, and making sure that you get a chance for at least a chance for a field goal when you can. But those situations, just sit down and write those things out and make sure that you cover them. Practice the kicking game. I ain't gonna say no more else about that. We all give it lip service. We don't teach it enough, to be honest with you. Okay. Ed said this a while ago. I heard Ed say it, and I, working for Arnsparger, both of us here and all this same type of stuff. The two guys I worked for in my lifetime who did the best job on situations with the football team were Arnsparger and Nick Saban. Look, the game ain't nothing but a bunch of different situations. You're out there, it's 1st and 10. Here's the situation. You're out there and it's 3rd and 10. You're out there and it's 2nd or 3rd and 1. That's another. The game ain't nothing but a bunch of situations. But the more they understand what you want in those situations and what you're looking for, the better we're all going to be. Okay. I work for a guy, questions that we all share. What to teach, how to teach it. At Florida years ago named Charlie Pell. I've mentioned him twice today. One time I told you he 6-point explosion, everybody did it. Okay, that was the one guy that before he get pissed off, he'd rub his eyebrows. We'd all get uncomfortable. There was an attitude coming in, we knew it. But he was a hell of a football player. If he hadn't gotten in trouble with the NCAA, we all of us that worked for him believe he'd be in the damn Hall of Fame. He did. So he was good. He's a good football player. When I first went to work for him, I think he was helpful to me. I think even today, some of the things that I learned from him, and I learned from everybody, but some of the things I learned from him have been so valuable to me. Here's what Coach Pell taught Pete Jenkins. Step back. Look at the game. Get your emotions out of it and look at the game. Identify and define positional needs within your scheme of offense, defense, and I should have kicking game. There are needs. I don't know what you run, Coach, but there's needs in that system that the players who you're responsible for need to do for y'all to be successful. You got to identify them. You need to identify them in your mind and Hank, write them down, right? Checklist. Write it down, okay? Coach Pell taught us that. Identify and define those positional needs. Okay, here's the way he broke the game down. This was the components of his teaching. Identify the skills, just like we talked about. What's the drill? Did you teach it? And how long do you spend on it? Okay. Chris, teamwork was not counted in that because that was to polish it. Okay? If you came to work for Coach Pell, he'd say, okay, Chris, go home tonight, make me a list of skills in the running game that offensive linemen got to do, make me a list of skills that defensive linemen got. I mean, they got to do in the running game and the passing game. You bring it back, one day he says to you, Chris, go to the board. He pulls your damn list out. He says, you identified so-and-so as a skill. Tell me how you teach that. And tell me how long you spend teaching. So the skill you identified, you had to have a drill somewhere where you taught it. I heard we hired a guy from Southern Cal. He's a running back. When he came to work, I knew what was going to happen because it happened to me and I've seen it happen to everybody. He asked him one day, he said, Ellie, his name was Elwood. Ellie turned in his stuff. And one day he looked at his stuff and he said, Ellie, go to the board up there. He said, the exchange between the quarterback and the running back. How are we going to do that? That's pretty important. You listed that as pretty important. How are we going to do that? He said, well, when I was at Arizona State, we did it like this. When I was at Southern Cal, we did this. And what Coach Pell said, we all saying, oh shit. He said, Ellie, I don't give a shit how they do it in Southern California. I want to know how you going to teach it to the Florida fighting fucking Gators. Okay? And Ellie really didn't have a way. He didn't really have a way. So you identify those things. He should have known how he was going to teach it. And then the drill, and then the time. Okay, the skill, football skills, mental and physical, relative to positional needs and successful execution. All right, I'm going to show you a Pete Jenkins screw-up. This is a Pete Jenkins screw-up right here. This is my first year at the Eagles. And one of the things that we did, big guy, one of the things that we did on this particular blitz, we were A-gapping, B-gapping, and this guy right here, we were wrapping. We were wrapping him. If the tackle blocked down, his assignment was add right there. You with me? We only wrap, Chris, if the tackle blocked out. If anything, and we just told him, if the tackle blocks down, abort that and add right here. Okay? So we playing the Giants. That's a big ass game. Here's what Pete Jenkins, left defensive end, did. What did the tackle do? Block down. There's JT right there. He's going into that wad of crap. Look at where JT should have gone. Okay, and there was a reason for that, guys. That's the way that's why Jim wanted it to talk that way. Okay? So we look at this film. We look at this film and Jim says, JT didn't add right there, Pete. Look at that window right here. Okay? And here's what I said to him. I said, Coach, you know what? That's mine and his fault right there. We've done it a little bit in team every now and then. We talk a little bit about it and everything. But I ain't drilled it. There's a skill that I didn't have a drill for. Okay? And you know what? I could have said, well, he's a dumbass. Or I could have said, you know, he's a piece of shit. He ain't no good. I coached with guys who did that. Who laid it on them like that. That wasn't JT. That wasn't just his fault. That was my fault too. I had to bear that with him. Okay? Because I believe his effort is him. His technique is you and him, or me and him. So what I had to do, because this was a prevalent technique. I had to find me a time to work on it during the course of the week. All right? So I shared that illness right there with JT. Now, several weeks later, we played the Cowboys. And you're going to see big ass block down here. And you're going to see this boy Ed. This is the same principle right here. Here it is. He reads he reads the down block, and he adds. And we get the sack. Don't get the fumble, they get it. Okay. Now what I'm saying, here he is one more time. Right here. He adds. All right, my point is this. That was on me now. That's on me. When I first went to work for Nick, we had that what he calls a loop scoop on your tackle to your potential dropper. We playing early in the season. Howard Green took the loop step. They scooped a play. They ran a cutback, and the safety luckily made a tackle by the damn 8-yard game. Nick said to me, Howard didn't stick that foot in the ground and come back down. I told him, I said, Coach, I'll be honest with you. I said, I ain't got around to working on it yet, but I'll get that shit fixed. Because that's what we got to do, guys. If we make that mistake, we got to get it fixed. He said, well, Pete, you know, he got to know how to do some things. I said, Coach, he played at Donaldsonville High School there, and they play good football, but they don't have a very big staff. And when the ball snapped, it looks like somebody opened up a damn can of worms. I mean, they go with everywhere. Good news is they get good athletes going. Then he went to junior college, Southwest, and I said, I know them fellas over there, but they got to bust their ass to teach them to line up right. I know he ain't learned. So where would he have learned? If I didn't teach it to him, where in the hell would he have learned it? I can tell you this, guys, he'd never busted it again. Because we got that fixed with him. Okay? The drill is a process designed to help your player understand and become physically proficient at techniques needed to play winning football. Okay? So think about your drills. I'm a guy that really thinks about drills because I want to put my piece in the puzzle. I want to put it in place. I've always wanted to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And I want my players to do that too. Okay? Now, the time allotted is based on two factors. Number one is how well or how poorly your players are executing. If they're doing it well, if they're executing the skills well, then you just polish it. You just polish it. If they're executing them poorly, you coach it and rep it until you get it fixed. Okay, so that's one of the ways that we know how much time. The other one is this. In season, the specific nature of the opponent's offense or defense. Okay? It always dates me, but I use it anyhow. Okay, this is an example. When we played Coach Bryant, when we played Alabama back in the day when they were in the wishbone, I can tell you right now, just stop. I didn't never do the draw drill. Shit, they didn't back up, Chris. Them sons always keep coming that way. So that was something I eliminated from my practice game. When Spurrier came into the league, I did the draw drill at least 2 days a week because he'd wear your ass out with a slide draw if you couldn't stop it. You'd get you a damn belly full. Especially after he got ahead of you. That's what the damn guy was. He'd throw it and then run it. You know, just did it backwards and forwards. But those two, I didn't do it. If we play in Alabama, I did the draw drill. If we play in Florida and Spurrier was there, I had to. This is something I had to help the guys be good at that for that ball game. Okay. Now this is an example. This is the only one I'll use. I know y'all ready to go. Gap responsibility. There's just a few things I know from all these years of ball. There's a few things I do know. I know that playing gap responsibility on defense will help you stop the run. Good gap responsibility helps you, it enables you to be a good run defense. Poor gap responsibility is going to cost you ball games. Okay? So that gap responsibility is an example of a skill that I want to talk about for a few minutes. Okay. We talked about this today in the lineman meeting. Gap identification. Now, it doesn't matter. Ham sandwich, turkey sandwich, barbecue sandwich, shrimp po' boy. It don't make a shit, okay? It's just talking. It's where you you don't tell them hungry. It's where you and your players have a communication point. A gap, B gap. Was that ball in the C gap? How did they block that? You know, you need to be able to communicate during the game because that's part of your responsibility is to help them during the game. This is just a shot against San Francisco here that I really like their width and everything. We talked about this today, and I just grew it. And I really wanted my film guy couldn't do it. I wanted to flow this way like this, and I wanted this line back. I wanted to dot this and all that stuff and dot this, but I couldn't do it. He said he didn't know how to do that shit. Okay, so but anyways, you see the front, and there's 8 gaps up in there, and you got to get them 8 gaps with somebody. Did I just have? Yeah. Same thing. One technique. Gap responsibility. Ball's out of the gap. Watch that Florida center. Threw his ass away like a wet sporting news. Watch it. Okay? Defend your gap first. Defend your gap first. And then you help us someplace else. 2 gap techniques. We talked about that this morning. 0, 2, 4, and 6. Okay. Here's Bo Davis. Some of you might know Bo. Okay. This is a 2 gap nose against Georgia. A gap, front side A, back side A. Now, all of that's pretty and well, but here's what he did first. He whipped the Georgia center's ass, chilled him, and then when he got rid of him and went to the ball. That's a really nice play by Bo. Okay? Gap responsibility. This is the drill. The drills. First thing I do, guys, is I always work on a line. And hopefully when the drill is finished, this guy's feet are across that line. Because we're always talking about working up the field, pushing on the blocker. Okay? So here, the thing he's going to do is stab the blocker off. Stab the blocker off. Press the blocker as you locate the ball. Eyes lower than the blocker's eyes. Primary gap. There's a ball carrier coming right here. He's coming to the secondary gap. Release. Release the blocker with a violent release and make the play. Okay, you see this a little bit better. Here's a 5 technique, and the ball comes to his gap. Okay, here's a nose in the game. Does a good job of whipping the Alabama center's ass. Eyes lower than the blocker's eyes. Got his face in the gap. And we talked about hand placement today. He's really got a good job of hand placement. He's got that hand in that damn center's throat right there. And you see that old boy's got his damn back bent.
That's Larry right there, Coach.
No, that's Corey Sears. Okay, here's a 5 technique with the ball going in the secondary gap. Play your gap. Play your gap. Now, release and make the play in the secondary gap. Okay, and he knows this. When this is his secondary gap, somebody else has got that. Somebody else has got that. Fits. Fits between the front and the linebackers. Fits. Fitting the linebacker in with the front is so important in being a good run defensive team. Okay, here's a 5 against Alabama over here. Ball commits inside. Whips Alabama tackle's ass, got his nose on the outside ear hole. Ball commits inside. It's a hell of a football. Hell of a football. Okay? And I want them to play 2 gaps from 1 gap 11, to tell you the truth. That's really what I want them to do. But I want him to play that C gap like he's supposed to. Okay, here's a way I teach them on the sleds. This is all about the teaching process and gap responsibility. Okay? This is a 4 technique. This is an inside gap defender. He's got his nose on the inside ear hole, and he's not leaving until the ball crosses his face. This is Jay Thomas, this nifty running back. Anybody know Jay? That don't look like Bucket right there, though, does it? That's the old Bucket right there. But anyways, press the blocker. Lose sight of him. When you lose sight of him, help us in your secondary gap. Somebody else has got this gap. Now there's a 5, same drill, and that's his primary gap. Press the blocker. Drive your legs. Okay? Here's one right here. This is Lavallee from Marksville and Jarvis Green. Okay? Chad's a 3 technique. Big gap defender. Jarvis is a 5 technique. The back is going to come and challenge the big gap. Okay? Watch how quickly Chad, you got to go now, Chad. Got to go now. Boom. But watch Jarvis. Late stack. Excuse me. Late stack. Because he knows he can't jump over it real quick. What the hell's the back going to do? Yeah. So you don't want 2 in there. But you got to get responsibility. Now this is a 7 technique. He's going to play the reach block. Press the blocker, nose on the inside ear hole. Here comes Jay again. Jay's outside. When he loses sight of it, he's going to cross it. Okay. Now, here's one of my defensive ends against the Colts. We play in the same technique. Can y'all see it? Am I standing in people's way or what? Okay. Inside out, nose on the inside ear hole. When the ball crosses, he crosses. Makes a hell of a play. Now, anytime we got a guy playing inside out on the ball, it means that he becomes the seam defender. He becomes the seam defender. He's got an outside defender who's going to be the containing guy on the play. So I want him to play inside out, cross it, and now he becomes the seam guy between support and the ball carrier. This, I forgot I had this on here. This is just a TV shot of the same play. Great steer. Great steer on that outside pad. Crosses it and makes a nice play. Okay. Now, one thing we talked about this morning, the back is telling him right now, I'm going to the edge. It's telling him we're going to the edge because of what, it's not going to be a cutback. You can see that. Nice play by the 17. Okay? Now, hopefully you're seeing this. Yeah, that's a great play. How do you get there? How do you get there? There's a process of teaching him how to get there. Okay? Now, this is going to be a cutoff on a 7, and I don't know where I'm going to go into this to tell you the damn truth, but I can't make the sled move. So Monte right here is the tight end. He moves inside. That brings me in there for the cutoff block. Cutoff block. I nose on the inside ear hole, stab him off, drive your feet. Now Monte becomes a ball carrier. Now he's going to work back outside. This is the same kid you just saw on the sled right here against the Ravens. Cutoff block. D-gap defender. Take away the inside gap. Take away the outside gap. Same guy. That's how I taught him how to do that, guys. That's how I taught him how to do it. This is something that I like that we've done. This is a front fit drill. And I like it because of this. It gives the lineman something to do. And you see the linebackers fit? The linebackers are fitting on flow. And what we try to do is we call the defense. We get in the huddle first. Get in the huddle, break the huddle, call the defense, get the alignment, snap the ball, and have flow, and let people play gap responsibility. Fit drill, front fit drill. Look here. This is where you practice football. That's how you get good. Hey guys, little things. Little things. Little things. Always working on those things. You're always working on those things. That's how you get to be where you want to be. Look here. Backside 5. Open your hips, okay? Gap responsibility, this is an off-season drill. Okay, I'm really partial to this shot right here. I hope y'all like this shot as much as I do. This is Victor Abermiri, boy from Notre Dame. This is my way ass right here. There's the ball carrier back here. He's playing inside, he's playing 7 technique, inside gap. Okay? Now I'm going to tell the ball carrier, challenge the C gap and pop it to the D. Challenge C, pop it to the D. Okay. Said hit it. Press the blocker. Press the blocker. Press the blocker. Ball crosses. Get you a good shrug release. And release. All right. Here he is. This is the same guy. This is Victor against the Bills. Tell me y'all see that. Guys, that's exactly what we're just working on. If that ain't it, grits ain't groceries. Look at them, man. Watch it. See it? Okay, this is a great view of it right here. Here he is right there. Nose on the inside ear hole. Ball carrier crossed. He crosses. Okay. After this game, I was talking to Victor. Now he's a bright kid and a great kid. I said, we're talking, and he said, we're talking about this play. And he said, Coach, when I was walking back to the huddle after that play, he said, I thought to myself, damn, that is just like that damn gap responsibility drill that we do. And I said, yeah, that's right. That's why we do this. Since we even make plays like that right there. Okay? And what I worked hard to do was find a guy in the drill and find a guy in the game. Playing the gap responsibility like we want him to. Okay. Here it is here. You see this next view a little bit better. Pressing the blocker. Here comes my manager. He runs right in the crack of this guy's ass. And that's a 5 technique, so boom, he commits right now. Great release. Good. Now, here's something I'm going to show you guys that I insisted on it at every level. Your ass be ready to go. Time is our enemy. As soon as they finish here, I'm stepping right there. And Bryce White, somebody in here was telling me today they coach Bryce early. Here's Bryce right here. Him and Jarvis are ready to go. And this right here, that's Derek LeBlanc. Anybody know Derek? He works over at LSU from Carencro. He's about 100 pounds lighter, probably right there, yeah. But anyways, he's ready to go as a back. We talked about those arms today. See how we can work that release? Boom. Snap that. That's a shrug release. Snap that shrug release. Okay. Byron Dawson, my boy up at Evangel. This happens to be the off-season program right here at LSU. Press and blocker. He's the left 3 technique. He is the left 3 technique. There's his B gap. Ball commits to the A, releases and plays A. Okay, there's Byron. Now, guys, here's Byron against Ole Miss right here. This is a boy named Metcalf. Got an ass 2 axons wide and still in the league somewhere. Okay? Watch Byron here. Nose in the gap, eyes lower than the blocker. And at one point I try to make to him all the time, peep in the gap. And watch release. That's the guy you just saw doing it in the off-season program at LSU. Same guy. All right, here's a left. This is a left tackle. He's playing 1 here, I think. Late help. Here he is right here against New York. Late help. Watch him here now. Freeze it right here. Watch him. Play that gap. Play that gap. Once that back commits to the other side, release, make the play. Okay, here's the other tackle. This is Bunkley. Got that hand in place. That left hand's right where I want it. It's right up in there. I'm telling you, it changes people's plans, guys. I'm telling you. People think about doing one thing. You get that damn hand in that throat right there, it'll change all of their plans and change them in a hurry. Okay, pop him feet. He's playing. Think of him as a 1 technique, shade to the right. That's who he's being right there. Press the blocker. Press the blocker. Wait on the ball. Got them shoulder square. I know he's always subject to making a cutback. Okay, this is him in the game right here. Let's see him. Here he is right here. Same cat you just saw. Careful now. Don't be pushing with your outside arm too hard because you get your outside foot up the field. We never reach for an inside release blocker with the outside arm. Always with the inside arm. When we reach for him with the outside arm, it turns your shoulders, it gets your outside foot up the field, and then there's no way in hell you can help us with the cutback. Okay, so we're always talking about inside arm. And here Bunk does a little bit, but he doesn't get himself out of position bad. I'm going to freeze this when you take a look at it and see. See that Buffalo Bills center, who the hell ever he is? He's going to change his plans. And what we do here, what we're doing here is this. And you got to decide on things like this when you decide on your gap responsibility. Here we got that, he's playing on this side, okay. So he's got that center post. And the ball, he's looking right now, is always that cutback because of that. Okay, now tell me, who we're going to do? We're going to play backdoor with the linebacker and cross that guy, or we're going to play backdoor with the nose and run the linebacker? That's what y'all have to decide. When you decide on gap responsibility, it's all about fitting the linebacker with the front. Here, what we doing, we going ahead and run in the back. And we play in the cutback with the nose and the backside defensive end. But we're letting the linebacker float. But that's what gap responsibility does for you. It defines who's got what. I coached with a guy one time. He wanted to say, okay, on cover 6 and cover 4, we're going the C block, the center block it back on the tackle. On cover 6, we're going to cross it because we got a down safety. And I said, shit on that. He's got 300 pounder about this far from his damn face trying to knock his damn head off. I ain't worried about cover 6. Give him one way to do it and I'll teach him how to do it. I don't want to do it 2 ways based on coverage. That's too much. That's too much. You know, and you guys that don't coach the defensive line, the one thing you got to do too when you're a secondary coach, you got to remember this: you're standing your ass back there, 9-10 yards deep. Yeah, you can see a lot of things. When you're about that far from a big bad motherfucker's face right here, you ain't got time to be looking around. Coach Jenkins asked me one time, the tight end, they moved the tight end. He said, "Can you see his feet?" Talking about the damn guy, two technique, I think, or one guy. I said, "Shit, I can see his feet, but I don't know who the hell it is. I ain't gonna look up and see either." Yeah, I can see his feet. Okay. I got about 3 or 4 more examples of this shit, but it's all about the same thing. And what my hope is that film guy in here? Is that film guy in here?
There.
Oh, I just want to go to the next thing, and I don't know how to do it. Because I wanted you to see the last line. This was boot contained and everything. It's basically the same type of stuff. It's just the drills that I use. Look at it, guys. Will you move that to the second, Darren, please? Okay. Well, that's the front. Go to the next thing, next program. Next is like, 2. No. There it is. Okay. This is my motto right here. If you don't teach it, and you don't rep it, and you don't get it, don't be surprised or pissed. With the players. Look in the mirror, Chris. Look in the mirror and say, you know what? I didn't have that guy prepared. And here's what I would encourage you to do. And this is a message in that film. This is what Coach Pell taught me. Back up. Look at your scheme. Figure out things you got to be able to do in your scheme. Offensive, defensive, kicking game, doesn't matter. Make you a check sheet. Make you a check sheet of those things. And then figure out a drill that you're going to teach them. And you're going to simulate this for them. How they're going to do this. If you don't do that, or you count on the junior high coach taught him real well, he falls into it with luck. You know what I'm saying? If you don't do that, then it's hard to hold him responsible for not getting it done. If you teach it, and you do a good job teaching it, then you can look at him and say, you know what? You didn't stay on the backside of the center play. Then the illness is on him. But I encourage you to do that. I know that this has helped me be more successful at helping players. It's helped me be more successful at helping players. And everything I do, guys, everything I do is geared that way. There's a reason for this drill. There's a way of doing this, and this is how we teach it, and this is how I drill it. And when I put a guy out there, he's been taught. He's been taught. You say, well, that's too much time. Well, shit, it ain't either. There's ways to find time, and there's ways to steal time, and you got to do it sometimes. I'm pretty into that. I coach with so many guys. You know, it used to piss me off so bad. I coach with so many guys that see a guy with a chair outside and would do something, you know, and they say, well, he's a dumbass. And Pell used to say this to us. His effort grade is his. His technique grade is yours and his. So when you got a guy that's playing with the shit, you got to carry that illness with you. You got to share it with him. And you got to find a way to get him better. You gotta find things just like I did with JT on that damn tackle blocking down, Ed. Coach, I ain't working on this shit. I ain't working on it. I'll tell you, the next 3 years I worked on it. I had a period during a Friday that I worked on it because it was important to Jim, it was important to the ski. I appreciate it, guys, and it's been nice spending this week with you. Has it been a week? Month, whatever it is.
Coach, you still got 5 to 10 minutes, man. You want to keep
No,
going?
I'm hungry. Let's go.